Industrial agriculture encourages monocultures and highly technological approaches like GM, and these will be very vulnerable to climate changes. Whereas in fact high biodiverse polycultures like Primrose are much more resilient, and so will be the reliable methods for obtaining future food security. The present food system contributes 30% of carbon dioxide emissions in Europe. Also, with industrialized food, there is up to 50% losses post-harvest. The 400 scientists of IASTED and DEFRA chief scientist Professor Bob Watson all stated that the present food system is totally unsustainable and we must create more ecological systems. Primrose is a flagship model of a low-impact food system with no chemicals, minimal fossil fuel and very little technology. The high productivity of Primrose is a very relevant model to the transition movement to produce food in and around cities where the availability of food is so dependent on fossil fuels. The Primrose Gardens have been likened to the sustainable urban gardens in Cuba, where in 2011 1,052,000 tons of food were produced within the confines of the cities. At Primrose we form a relationship with the plants that provides for the real needs of the plants and maximizes their output, and we also minimize the wastage post-harvest. There should be government support for people-centered, ecological, high biodiverse farms like Primrose, whereas at the present environmental schemes support actions like this hedge devastation. Primrose Organics is an ecological polyculture and a very wide diversity of crops are grown, and this provides plenty of variety for customers when selling locally. The stall in hay may contain 30 to 40 different items in the summer. Interest is maintained with customers and hotels, with new seasonal crops becoming available through the year. Hotels are now becoming more receptive to crop seasonality. The high biodiversity means that it is a more resilient system and more able to withstand market fluctuations. Also, it has inherent resilience and so will be better able to withstand the adverse effects of climate change, which we are already beginning to experience. In addition to the high biodiversity of cropping, we have also created an ecological food system that has encouraged nature to be in and around the productive garden. There are 70 different native herbs and plants around the 7 ponds. Borage and poppies self-seed themselves amongst the productive plants, and borage is a favourite of bees, and we also put the flowers in salad packs. Nasturtiums under the fruit trees help to keep the codlin moth off the apple trees, and we incorporate the flowers and leaves of these in salad packs. We grow smelly plants around like mince and tansy, and these help to disorientate pests which locate their hosts through smell. Wild plants provide important foods and lodgings for beneficial wildlife. The native plants contain higher levels of energy and protein in their flowers than do cultivated plants, and predatory insects need these high-energy foods. Here we see hoverflies that eat aphids. Slugs can be a major problem in Wales, and our team of helpers includes slowworms, frogs and toads, and birds, which have increased phenomenally at Primrose with the raised natural environment. One year we had 4 nesting pairs of missel thrush in the forest gardens, and when feeding their young in June they would come into the main garden and tunnels to collect slugs. Our army of ducks also reduces the slug population considerably. Our loving cat Puss is also a great predator, killing masses of rodents and up to 100 young rabbits each year. Primrose salads are in great demand since most salads that are available are relatively flavourless, but ours are made up of very interesting mixtures of around 7 spicy flavours, interesting lettuces, sorrels, herbs and flowers, with about 16 or 17 different ingredients. We also supply large amounts of rocket, both rucola type and wild, to restaurants. Much salad is sown in individual sections in module seed trays and planted out. However, some are sown by seed distribution and the plants grow very compact together and can be harvested with scissors. We also use homemade mini tunnels for salad production in spring and autumn. Primrose people are a vital part of the operation, since we have replaced machines with handwork. The very high biodiversity and the natural feeling and beauty of the garden, with great variety of jobs, creates the potential for people to gain some of the healing power that is offered by nature. This is a very different environment to work in, rather than large, little diverse farms. We have 3 support workers who stay the season and help to organise and run the organic business, and up to 50 people each year who come and help for a minimum of 1 week. This creates a very interesting multicultural mix of people who share ideas and skills and cooking techniques. Over the last 60 years there's been substantial government encouragement to increase output per person on farms and much financial support for mechanised systems. There are millions of people out of work and on antidepressants and tranquilizers who could gain inner benefits through becoming involved with producing food in this type of meaningful ecological system. I run a How to Garden for Life course held on a day a month through the year, and this covers the theory and practice for growing organic and sustainable food the Primrose way. Each day covers activities and processes that are happening at that time of year. The guided tour provides inspiration and knowledge of seasonal changes. Most of the content of this day gardening course is also contained within the 2-part residential course, Gardening and Cooking for Life and a Sustainable Future. This course also includes wild foraging, interesting methods of preparing food, and cooking to maintain flavours and nutritional value. This shows the differences in nutrients lost to the fluid during the boiling and steaming of Swiss chard. We host a very wide range of visitors, and I give guided tours to groups that range from permaculture, Friends of the Earth, and transition town groups, visits from the Hay-on-Wye Literary Festival, farmers, MSc students, WIs, to partially sighted and hard of hearing groups. Through the Primrose Earth Awareness Trust, we hosted groups from 45 different schools in the area. We offered them 11 theme focus days, of which 5 of these focused around growing food and caring for the natural environment. Many schools had their own piece of garden in which they would produce crops and take the harvest back to school to eat with their dinners. We also have had visits from 3 Welsh Assembly ministers, Carwyn Jones, and here is Carwyn with Kirsty Williams AM, Ellen Jones and Jane Davidson. In addition, we offer 2-hour guided tours combined with a 2-course seasonal meal, both to large groups like this delegation of representatives from Finland, but also to smaller groups of at least 4 people. These are offered from April until October each year. The quality and vitality of Primrose produce begins through nurturing the soil. but it is also greatly supported with our positive intentions. At Primrose, we produce food within the flow of giving and receiving, and we believe in the interconnectedness of all life, and we try to encourage working with mindfulness and gratitude. We also hold seasonal celebrations, using sound to connect with the energy of the season, and honour and offer respect and gratitude to the land and plants. These celebrations also encourage participants to live and organise their lives within the annual energy cycle of nature. We are beginning to experiment using biodynamic potions, which activate plants and the earth on an energetic level. I am also beginning to experiment using sound to offer positive vibrations to the plants and the garden. The C to F sharp interval is particularly enjoyed by the plant kingdom, and the earth gong is offering positive vibration to the garden, plants and wildlife. My journey at Primrose began with a bare field, a knowledge of what not to do, and an exploration of how to produce food in a good way. As the years circled by, I became more able to open my heart and soul to nature and the energy of the land. This has been personally very healing and become such a blessing and an unfolding of the healing way for food security. On Primrose Land, it is possible to reach a place of inner stillness and feel a deep sense of belonging.